First, there are a few things you need to remember when you're doing one-step equations and all kinds of solving equations. You need to remember PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P means parentheses. That's where we start when we're solving an equation. If we have parentheses, we got to get rid of them first. Then we take care of our exponents. Then we do our multiplication and division, finishing up by addition and subtraction. Some other things you need to remember: if we're trying to undo a multiplication like 4 times x, we would divide by 4. So multiplication undoes division, and division undoes multiplication. If we have a positive, that undoes subtraction, or subtraction undoes addition. So if we're adding, then we need to subtract to get rid of something. It's pretty simple to remember, just some things we got to throw in there. Next thing we need to remember are steps to solving an equation. First, you have to identify what variable are we trying to solve for. Is it an x? Is it a y? Is it an a? Is it a v? What's the letter? Then you need to decide what do we got to get rid of to get that letter, that variable, by itself. Do the opposite of what is happening. If it's multiplying 3 times x, you need to divide by 3. If you are adding 3 plus x, you need to subtract 3. You're doing the opposite of what happens. Next, what do you do to one side of the equation? You must do to the other side of the equation. We'll talk about sides of the equation in just a second. You've got to remember that. It's important. Then you simplify to make the things easiest as possible. So what are sides of the equation? Sides of the equation you get from different sides of the equal sign. On the left side, we have 32 in this example. On the right side, we have 8x. Those are different sides of the equation. Now we'll begin with one-step equations. The first equation that we have is 26 is equal to 8 plus v. First, we need to identify the variable. The variable in this problem is v. Second thing we need to do is decide what to get rid of. We're going to get rid of the 8. How are we going to do that? Well, you do the opposite of what is happening. We will subtract 8. The 8 will then cancel on the right side of the equation. We've got to do that to the left side. What you do to one side of the equation, you have to do the other. So we have to subtract 8 from 26. The next one we have is negative 15 plus n is equal to a negative 9. We're going to add 15 to get n by itself. So negative 15 plus 15 is 0, cancels out. Add 15 to the negative 9. Negative 9 plus 15 is 6. Pretty easy. Next problem we have is negative 104 is equal to 8x. We want to get x by itself, so we're going to divide by 8. You're probably wondering, why are we going to divide? Well, 8x, what that says is 8 times some number. We don't know what that number is, but it's times a number. So we're going to divide because, like we said earlier, division is the opposite of multiplication. So we're going to divide by 8 on the right side of the equation, divide by 8 on the left side of the equation. 104 divided by 8 is 13, so it's a negative 13 is equal to x. Our last problem, negative 6 is equal to b divided by 18. If we're going to divide by 18, we have to do the opposite. So we're going to multiply by 18 to get rid of it. We do it on one side of the equation, we have to do it on the other side of the equation. 18 times negative 6 gives us a negative 108. These are really